Okay, so this question just came up. So if you actually will look back at your page 2 for a minute, and hopefully you got this answer for group work. If you didn't get this answer, if you haven't done it yet, just go do it another time, but just write down this because I can trust, it's a trusted source, okay, that gave me this answer. Now, his question was, can this be reduced? So they had, originally it was radical 88, that 4 came out as a 2. Can we reduce this? And we can. Okay, because the 4, the 2, and the 6 all have to be divisible by what? 2. 2 goes in here twice. 2 goes in here once. So I don't really have to write that 1, but I can. And 2 goes in here 3 times. Now the question also came up, could you move that negative up here? And you could. You can either, when it comes to a fraction, you can have the negative in the denominator or in the numerator, but not both. Okay? Now, why don't I make this positive or negative? Well, it already is positive and negative. So that sign of the 6 coming up, you know, to the 2, it doesn't affect the plus or minus because then it would just be minus and plus, right? If you change the signs, you get them both back. Okay? What's that? Why am I not? He was just asking, is it possible? So you could have it either here, 2 plus or minus radical 22 over negative 3 would be the same thing. Okay? So what's that? That's just a 1, because I just put the coefficient of 1, but you don't have to have it, right? It's not 11, though. It's 1 times radical 22. Yeah. Okay, when you go over that group work stuff, you can look at that. Now let's talk about graphing. Okay, so we're going to algebraically determine the key features. What does it mean that we're looking for key? What are the key features of a parabola? What special points do we want to find? Yes, x-intercepts, good. Y-intercepts, and vertex, good. Okay, so which one do you want to do first? Okay, y-intercept. Y-intercept. Oh, what is the y-intercept? 0, 6. Does everybody understand how we got 0, 6? You see the y-intercept, right? It's very similar to when we graph a quadratic. Now, I meant a linear equation. That's what I meant. It's very similar, right? Because we had that plus b. This is just plus c. So c will be your y-intercept when it's in not factored form, in multiplied form, expanded form. So we can go ahead and graph that point. So here we have our y-axis, our x-axis, and put some numbers. 2, I'm counting by 4, counting by 2, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, and here's our y-intercept. Put some negatives on here, negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 2, negative 4. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that. And let's talk about now, how do we find the x-intercept? Let's do the x-intercepts. We might have 2. Set y to 0, set y equal to 0, and we're going to solve for x. So we get 0 equals negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 6. Okay, and also, does this parabola open upward or downward? We forgot to ask about that. Yeah. So because of this negative 2, it's going to open downward. Okay. And so how do we solve this? What would you do first? And I would look for a greatest common factor first. Notice here, because we have negative 2, I don't really like to factor when a is negative. What did we do when it started with a negative? What did we do with factoring? Yes. And because we're solving, we can divide both sides by that greatest common factor. You wouldn't want to do that if it was an x, but you can do that here because that's solving. We can do whatever we want so long as we do the same thing to both sides, right? What's 0 divided by negative 2? 0 equals, what do we get over here? minus 3. Now, how do we solve? What's our favorite way of solving? The easiest way to solve, hopefully, is by, yes, factoring. 0 equals. You don't have to use the AC because A is 1, right? So we have x times x. What times what gives us a negative 3 and has a sum of negative 2? Negative, positive, 2 different signs. Positive 1, negative 3. Positive 1 times negative 3 gives us negative 3. Positive 1 plus negative 3 gives us negative 2. Who can tell me then if I have x plus 1 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, what are the x values, our solutions? Yes, negative 1, x equals negative 1, and x equals 3. Good. So these are our x-intercepts are going to be, now tell them to me as ordered pairs. What are the ordered pairs that I'm going to graph? So negative 1, 0, because remember x, y, 3, comma 0. So 3, this intercept is here, and then negative 1, 0 is here. Remember, it's opening downward. To complete the picture of what it's looking like, we have x-intercepts, we have y-intercepts. What's the